our Jerry Hilburn is probably our best imager to capture asteroids from Earth with his telescope, but I bet our speaker knows more about small planetary bodies than just about anybody on Earth. And this is a little capture from the meeting that she's the principal investigator for. This is actually a CubeSat, and you see the little X for the CubeSat in the middle, and it has a large solar scale that I guess improves maneuverability and so forth, going up to get data, get fairly extensive data on this asteroid. SDAA calendar. Outreach is doing fairly well. TDS, Oak Oasis, Sycamore Canyon, KQ Ranch Star parties are going well and are well attended. And we have a new venue this month at Dixon Lake. Dixon Lake ought to be a good location. It's in Escondido. And of course, you know, it is the lake that had the largest bass in the world, Dottie. But Dottie's now dead. So no chance of catching that fish. We are still working to restart Balboa Park and the 2 admission trails. Our member schedule. This week, you probably saw the information from Dave Decker about the Alcon virtual meeting. The Astronomical League convention will be virtual for the 2nd year. And this one's pretty neat. Their main speaker, and I think it's on Sunday, is Jocelyn Bell Burnell, you know, who is a graduate student, actually found the quasars in the strip chart recording. And I've heard her speak before, and she's very good. Also, some of our members are quite prominent. 2 of our students are getting awards, and one of our students is the one who made the presentation about modeling the structure of a planetary nebula. The Cat's Eye is actually a speaker at the conference, and our own newsletter editor is getting 2nd place award for our newsletter. So all you have to do is register, and you can participate and get the schedules and so forth. 25 August, next Wednesday, is our Asic Zoom. It is sort of a challenging one given the weather, but the topic is member images that we have taken as a challenge. There's a wide field and a long focal length challenge, and we are to capture the images and process of them and talk about our experiences. On the 4th of September, member night, we are actually having a vintage telescope event at TDS, and I believe there will be food to substitute for our banquet, not our banquet, our barbecue at TDS. So members and of course neighbors at TDS are welcome. If you look on the calendar, the event is much more extensive than that, because there will be a setup of our very large Dob. In other words, a big Dob telescope that was actually touched by John Dobson himself. And Dave Decker, do you want to say any more about this? You're one of the principals that part of the setup.
Well, I'm pretty excited. We have not set up this scope. It's a 24-inch f6. It's a classical John Dobson creation. So it will take probably 3 men and a boy to set this thing up, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And we'll see how that goes. And we're encouraging everyone else coming out to bring your old vintage telescopes, the ones hiding in the closet that, you know, 20 years ago you loved it and it was great, and then you found something that's more modern. I'll be bringing an old Criterion RV6. So let's see what else you guys can bring out and share with the crowd. It'd be kind of fun.
How old do the telescopes have to be?
Oh, there's no rules. It's whatever you feel like doing. There's no competition. It's just an opportunity to get it out of the closet, break it out, and you know, share it with friends. So very informal, no rules whatsoever.
It really should be a neat event. 7 September, the first of the Dixon Lake Star Parties. 11 September, many star parties, TDS, KQ, and Oak Oasis. Our program meeting next week, or on the 15th, I'm sorry, and 24th of September, Sycamore Canyon, that's off Route 67. That is scheduled for every other month. So September will be an on month for that. I still don't know about West Sycamore, and I suppose we're going to miss the Kumeyaay Campground event. Astronomy news. You know, we've all been fascinated by the little helicopter Ingenuity that was carried to Mars by the Perseverance rover. It's made 11 flights so far. And this is an image that NASA posted. It's a blown up image, by the way, that of it looking back at the Perseverance, and you can see the Perseverance sort of in the top center of the image. So that's kind of neat. And I think we're going to see more of these robotic features on future missions now that it's so successful. Something that you're probably not really familiar with. There is a laser communications experiment at Palomar Observatory. And if you see from the lower diagram, you know, the background is NASA has been trying to increase the bandwidth of the deep sky network for some years. And they've been experimenting with Ka band RF and optical laser communications. They have some demonstrations using MIT facilities, and this is the next step. And I think we're talking about a step to Mars, where will be a special receiver built by JPL at Palomar Observatory using the antenna to collect photons, an uplink transmitter facility over at Table Mountain, and there'll be an in-flight package carried on the Psyche mission in 2022. There's a little bit of more information about the Deep Space Network there. Normally, the Deep Space Network, when we're talking communicating with near-Earth object satellites, is about 2 megabits per second. But if we're going all the way to Mars, the distance varies quite a lot. And so we get anywhere from a very low data rate of about 500K up to maybe 4 megabits. Mars has 2 relay satellites that collect the information from the rovers and store it on the satellite and then beam it back on the Deep Space Network when they're within the footprint of the satellite. So again, it's a step to Mars, and it's kind of a neat experiment to see the old telescope being used for optical communications. And I believe that they're advertising the experiment working both at night and in the day. So more on that when I get more information. Don't know much about the margins or anything like that. I like to show Asic Images. This is something that was posted by Mark Ebbe back in February of Thor's helmet. He used the 5-inch refractor, and you see all the specs there with a ASI 1600 monochrome camera with filters. But you know, this is a very interesting object. You would think it's a planetary, but it's really not. It's an emission nebula. And there's a bright Wolf-Rayet star in the middle that's pumping energy and illuminating this kind of interesting structure. But again, if you didn't really know that, you'd probably guess it was a PNeb. Our speaker, again, is a very interesting speaker, a real live JPL planetary scientist who has been working on a number of missions dealing with the formulation, design, and planning of planetary missions and missions to near-Earth objects. She's the principal science investigator at the JPL for the near-Earth asteroid Scout mission, and she's French. She earned a PhD in planetary geophysics at the University of Rouen in France, and she's been at JPL since 2007. So I will ask Dave.